Hello, hello. I don't know why we can't be seen, but yeah, this is Elistine, and we are eagerly awaiting the appearance of Gus Tucker. He is your financial independence guru, and he is going to talk to you today about creating pathways to financial independence. He's got a wonderful, wonderful program planned here today, and we're going to, today's show is really all about debt management and increasing your cash flow. So from knowing to doing, and that's really some great steps in terms of what you need to do to get that financial independence that you're searching for. And so as we eagerly await Gus to get in, I know he was doing something, some technical things. So I'm going to kind of start the program off and get it moving. And then when Gus comes in, he'll take over. But I know what he's talked about in the past. And so, I produce the shows. So those of you that don't know. So we're going to do a quick recap of our financial literacy education masterclass sections 3 and 4. So you got to remember, what is financial independence? And that is the state of having sufficient personal wealth to live without having to work actively for basic necessities. And that's a basic fancy way of saying I can pay all my bills without having to work. And so that is the goal of this program, is to help people learn the tools they need to reach financial independence. So I'm going to pass it on. Seems like my man Gus is in the building. Hello, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I was getting it warmed up. I was getting your crowd warmed up. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I was logged in at 1:45. My computer crashed right at 2:00. So
it happens. It happens. I definitely understand that. So we kind of went through, and I started to recap because I've seen it enough. So I've been following it. I've not seen it, but I've been following it. So I started to recap, so you can pick it up from here and take it off.
Not a problem, man. So how's everybody doing? And it's good to see you live. I was in Nigeria for 2 weeks, and that was quite an experience on a lot of different levels. And maybe another time we'll talk about that. And so financial independence is made possible, as it says, by applying financial literacy. And this is critical, and we've kind of been through this before. I'm going to go to the next slide, and we're going to move through this pretty quick. Take the quiz, send me your score, get the free ebook. More of you, I really want you to get this ebook. It's called Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance, and it's a great history lesson on some key financial concepts that I would encourage you to take advantage of. Next slide. Get the book, read the book. That's all I got to say here, because that's what we're using as our roadmap to financial independence. 2 of my business partners, Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold, have written this book, and it's terrific, and it will provide you everything you need to it will provide you everything you need to make this happen. Next slide, please. You want to have down your reasons why you must be financially independent and the feelings that you're going to generate when you do that. That will help keep you on track every day, step by step. Next slide, please. So we have to create financial independence, first in your mind, second on paper, and third with your written plan. And once we go through all the milestones, we're going to circle back and we're going to put together a written plan week by week together to get you to financial independence. Next slide, please. Your zero-based budget. I would like to get some feedback on your zero-based budget, how that's helped you get a handle on where your money's going, how that's going to help you to put together your plan going forward. I know it's saved my wife and I hundreds of dollars a month by putting this zero-based budget together and cutting the waste out of our budget. Some of those things we'll talk about today. Next slide. Again, get the book, your 10 reasons and feelings down, complete your zero-based budget, and you're ready to go. Next slide. So we've gone through starting your financial education. Hope you have a financial professional that's working with you on your plan. We're gonna circle back on this. Develop a plan for proper protection, so that your family's properly protected with life insurance and other insurances. We're gonna look at your emergency fund to make sure we've got enough money saved for emergencies as they come up, and it's saved in the right place. Next slide. And today, what we're going to do is work on step 4 and step 5. Develop a plan to get on the good foot. Good foot is get out of debt, okay? And step 5 that we're going to cover today is increase your cash flow. So we're gonna skip through these because we're a little behind on time. And what we don't finish today, we'll finish next week. Next slide. Again, how money works. Stop being a sucker. Next slide. We're going to cover what we're covering right now, these 7 money milestones, and we'll walk through them real quick. Next slide. Again, financial independence, what it is. Okay, financial education, which is reading the book and then applying it as we go through these 7 money milestones. Your first time through will be reading the book. The second time through will be us going through each one of these areas. The third time through will be you actually putting your plan together. So it's financial education, looking at the proper protection for you and your family, emergency funding. Then today we're going to cover debt management and cash flow. Then we're going to talk about building wealth. And then we're going to talk about protecting wealth. And then we're going to circle back and put your plan together, phase by phase. Next slide. So milestone number 4, debt management. And so debt management, I know you may not have any debt, but you may know somebody, okay, that's got some debt. So our goal is to change our spending habits and eliminate debt. Now you see those scissors on there, and eventually we're going to cut up that debt and cut up those unneeded credit cards. So next slide. And so it says, I have so many friends that need help with this. Not me, of course. For many, debt is the greatest obstacle to a sound financial future and become financially independent. Debt is a sweeping crisis perpetuated by a society of suckers, led astray by the instant gratification desires of our generation. That's a mouthful, but it's true. Why do we say that? Let's take a deeper look. Next slide. The average American has almost $30,000, $28,900 in personal debt. That's outside of mortgages. Outside of mortgages. And this debt is a source of great anxiety and depression, actually, in people. Next slide. 5 ways to out of debt. Know what you owe. Part of that zero-based budget was to go through and know exactly what you owe. Okay? Number 2, stop the late payments. Either get them on an automatic payment cycle, or because of your zero-based budget, you know exactly when your payments are due and you're not late anymore. We're going to show you how to target a debt at a time. We're going to use a debt reduction strategy. When we go back through and actually build your financial freedom plan, we're going to show you how to use some debt acceleration payment techniques that'll strategically get you out of debt faster. Okay? Stop charging and cancel unused subscriptions. If you're in a hole, the best way to get out the hole is first stop digging. Okay? Stop digging the hole. Okay? The next is start filling the hole in with dirt. What's that dirt? Getting out of debt, savings, like canceling unused subscriptions. So you start filling that hole up with money. And we're also going to look at refinancing your mortgage. Right now, interest rates are still at some pretty low rates. And that's something you might want to look at in terms of refinancing your mortgage. Not for more years, not to take cash out, but to get the payment down and shorten the number of years. Okay? Next slide. So first, know what you owe. Make a list of all your credit card debts and loans. As you did your zero-based budget, you should have this. What's the outstanding balance? What's the monthly payment? What's the interest rate? Okay? And then when is it due every month? If you look at this one right here, 15% interest rate on $4,000, that's over $600 in interest every year. That's $50 a month. So if we're paying a payment of 89, is that $89 totally going to that payment? No, only about $40 of it is. That's why it takes so long to get out of debt. Okay, next slide. So know what you owe. Okay, here's a opportunity. Once a year you can get a free credit report. They'll make you pay extra for your actual score, but go to annualcreditreport.com and you can get a free credit report from each of the credit bureaus. They also have a way where right on the site you can dispute items on your report. Many times credit repair companies, and I'm not telling you not to use them, but credit repair companies, essentially what they do is they dispute items that are on your credit report and help you remove them. You can do that yourself if you so desire. This website can help you do it because they will give you the opportunity to dispute every item on your report. Okay, and it will give you the avenue to communicate that to the credit card bureau and have a dialogue about removing those things off your credit report. That's how your score goes up, by paying credit on time, by reducing the percentage of your credit that you're using, and getting bad things off your report. Okay, next slide. Again, know what you owe, look at the websites, and look for the word dispute, like we were just saying, and it'll walk you through how to manage your information and how to dispute your information on each of the three credit card companies that report: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You can dispute them right online. They give you a way to do that. Okay, so check that out. Okay, as a way of managing your way towards improved credit. Why do you want to improve credit? Because when you do choose to borrow money, you can borrow at the lowest rates possible, and it will cost you less interest over time. Okay, which is another expense that we're managing. Next slide. Okay, and then no more late payments. Okay, paying after the due date hurts your credit score, and you get late fees. So you should know, when is it due, when is it late, and make sure you're in that window 100% of the time. No more late payments. Next slide. So either sign up for automatic payments. You can set alarms on your phone. You can also use software programs like Mint, Truebill. You need a budget. You can Google what are the best budgeting programs, right? You can go to nerdwallet.com and find budgeting programs, and then you can build these alarms right into your phone, your smartwatch, your computer. So there's no reason not to know when the payments are due, okay? And to be late because, we just forgot, okay? So no more late payments. Yeah, Truebill is great. I use Truebill, as a matter of fact. So next slide. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to show you there are a number of different strategies you can use. This is one of them. If you have a credit card balance, and there are different strategies you can use: paying off the highest interest one first, paying off the lowest balance one first, doing a debt snowball. The key point here is I want you to make sure you know what your balances are, what your interest rates are on each card, what the minimum payment is, okay? And then we have our budget together to figure out how much money do we have left over at the month that we can begin to direct towards getting out of debt, direct towards covering the high priority items that should be in your budget, maybe by moving some things around, and also saving and investing towards the future, okay? And those are the things we have to do: get out of debt, pay the highest priority items first, and be saving towards our future, okay? So make sure you have this credit card situation in hand and you have this information, okay? Next slide. Okay, and so we're going to go through this later. This is a strategy where you pay off the lowest balance first. And sometimes we do that with people because we need a win. We need to see some movement, okay, on something, right? But there are different strategies, and we've got a computer program that'll tell you the best strategy for doing this. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. And we're going to use this strategy, whichever strategy we settle on, and which we'll walk you through. When we get to that part, we'll walk you through the different strategies with the computer program, and we'll show you, even with a live demonstration, right, how to go about figuring out how to pay off your credit card debt most strategically, okay? And then we'll get your credit card debt free, and then that money that you're paying every month on credit cards, we're going to show you the value of that towards putting that towards your wealth accumulation. Because right now, that credit card payment, who's it making rich? The credit card company. Who do we want it to make rich? You. Okay, so we're going to turn that around here very shortly. Next slide. So stop charging is the first thing. You have a budget, right, that you worked on, your zero-based budget, and you either at the end of the month you had money or you didn't. If you didn't, then hopefully you cut some things out of your budget that you didn't need. Unneeded subscriptions, spending at different places. You'd be surprised how much money people, I know with COVID and everything, it hasn't been as much, but we spend money either on eating out, or now it's not eating out, it's having it delivered or going to pick it up, right? So you look at where you're spending the money and unused subscriptions you have and save money that way, okay? So make sure you're on top of that, because the value of that money going forward, it can add up to a lot of money for you, okay? Yeah, food deliveries cost even more. It's amazing how much it costs to be in your own house and have food delivered, okay? Next slide. Okay, refinancing your mortgage, okay? I suggest you make sure you sit down with a good mortgage person, or we have a conversation on this, because the goal here is not to extend the time on your mortgage. It's to shorten the time on your mortgage, have it at the same time or less years to pay than you have right now, lower the interest rate, so you lower the amount of interest you're paying on your mortgage, and that money can then be allocated back to your building wealth. Rather than making the mortgage company wealthy, you get to keep that money, okay? Does that make sense? And any money we free up, we can then either have it go to paying off debt, current lifestyle, or future wealth. And we can make those decisions, okay? Next slide. So milestone number 5. Milestone number 5. We've got about 10 minutes left. Milestone number 5 is increasing your cash flow. How many of you making more money, even $1,000 a month, would that make a big difference? If you could make $1,000 more a month, would that make a difference? Let me get some comments in Facebook, however you're watching. I'd like to get some comments from you. Would $1,000 a month make a difference? There are several ways to get at that $1,000 that we're going to talk about. One is developing another stream of income. Okay? Developing another stream of income. The second thing is making more money at your current job. A third way is, we're going to talk about it today, is looking at your withholdings from a tax perspective, okay, and show you how, yeah, absolutely, for sure, yeah. And so we're going to talk about, in future shows, we're going to talk about how to make that $1,000, okay? And also managing your withholding can put more money in your pocket. So if we go to the next slide. So cash flow is the money you have available to spend or save. After you've got your high priority items in, you've protected your family properly, you've got money saved for emergencies, you're getting your debt paid off. Now you're ready to focus on growing your income and growing your savings, okay? Because I've found in working with clients over the years, if we don't have these things in place, what ends up hurting our saving for the future, our emergencies come up. Something breaks, there's an accident, there's a need in the family that we have to put money towards. Okay. One of the things that I encourage people to do is have a benevolent fund. Why is that? Because if you're on this call and you're watching this, you're probably that person in your family that everybody comes to when something blows up and they need some help. You need to have a benevolent fund, a certain amount of money set aside. So when that happens, you don't hit the guilt button, you hit the benevolent fund button, and what's in that fund is what you give. What's a benevolent fund? A benevolent fund is churches have it, nonprofits have it. It's the, hey, can I borrow some money fund? Hey, this blew up in my life. I need some money. So you set aside some money every month and you build that fund up. So when people come and ask you for money, you don't feel guilty, right? And mess up your whole plan that you've established for your family. But you've got a fund of money set aside to help those people out. Make sense? All right. Next slide. Since I budget, I'm frugal. What can I do to improve my cash flow? I'm just stuck. You know, he says, I guess I could start selling my fire in the whole chili. That's his his business. Okay. You know, we've all got ideas about how we can make more money, right? Next slide. Here's some tips to increase your cash flow. First thing is get a budget, because all of us waste money. And you got to look at your income and your expenses and decide, what do I really need to spend money on? I just have to. And what are some things I just want? I want what I want, right? Make those decisions, because we're not saving at least 10% of our income, then we really need to make more money or cut that budget. Okay? We really want to be at a point where we're saving at least 20% of our income or more. Okay? Next is develop a written game plan. You know, I've worked for a number of large multi-billion-dollar companies, and all of our business unit had a business plan. Your family is a business. It's called You Incorporated. You need a business plan. Your business plan is, how are we going to make money? How are we going to keep the business going? That's called your expenses. And then how are we going to put the business in a better position over the long haul? That's your saving and investing. Okay? And we need a written game plan, a written down game plan on how we're going to do that. And that started with your zero-based budget that you worked on. Okay? And if you don't have that, you want to spend some time this weekend and get that knocked out. Okay? Two things you ought to always be checking to see if you can save money. Car and home insurance. Look at your deductibles and make sure you have a deductible that makes sense. And you keep that deductible. That's a part of what's in your emergency fund. That deductible for your insurance, that's part of what's in your emergency fund. But look at ways that if you change your deductible or change your company, how can you lower the premiums on your car and your home insurance? And you can have some significant savings on that. I know I've helped people to shop for insurance through some brokers and help people save a lot of money. Okay, that's something you ought to shop out every year. Car and home insurance. Okay, next slide. Reposition your savings. In America right now, There are trillions of dollars in savings accounts. Somebody Google right now average interest on a savings account or a CD in America right now. Somebody tell me what that is. But I bet you it's way less than 1%. Now, have you ever heard of the rule of 72? The rule of 72 says if you take an interest rate, you divide it into 72, it tells you how many years it takes for your money to double. If you're making 1% on your money, it's going to take 72 years for your money to double. There are programs out there that will pay you 3 to 5 times what's in a bank and still give you access to your money if you need it. And you can't lose the money. I'm going to say it again. There are programs out there, but they're not at your bank. They will pay you 3 to 5 times the interest rate of the bank, give you access to your money, and you won't lose any of your money. If you're interested in that, hit me up on the email and I can get you some information about that. Okay? Private mortgage insurance. Sometimes if you bought your home and you didn't have money to really get the down payment down where you wanted to, they have what's called PMI, private mortgage insurance. Once you get to a certain equity level, either because the value of your home went up, and that's a reason to do every couple of years, especially now when it's been a seller's market, get your home reappraised. And if it's gone way up and you have private mortgage insurance, because of that increase in the price, you may be able to get out under that private mortgage insurance, which can save you a considerable amount of money every month. Okay? And as you're paying down the mortgage, you're gaining more and more equity. So make sure you're on top of that private mortgage insurance if you have it, and you understand the numbers so that you can get out of it. Okay? Next slide. The 3 big moves to supercharge your cash flow. One is add something you do on the side. Okay? And there's this whole gig economy, side hustle, part-time professional business. A recent survey found that 45% of U.S. workers have a side gig earning an average of $1,100 a month. When I was in corporate America, I always had a business I was doing. And I'd be making $3, $4, $5, $6 grand a month in that business in addition to my day job. Okay? Always had something going. All right? So look at what could you do that will provide a real service to people and make you real money. Okay? What could you do that could provide a real value to people and you can make money? Let's make that extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. Okay? I mean, I did that for many, many years. Next slide. The second thing you can do is start a business. So a side gig is get a second job. Okay? Like work part-time at another job place. Start a business is what I did. I did entrepreneurial things outside of my day job that can make me good money. So get a second job, a W-2 type thing that's part-time in addition to what you do. Or number 2, start a business. And then here's the third one. A lot of people don't think about this. And I remember when I learned about this, adjust your W-2. How many of you get a tax refund at the end of the year? Okay? And nowadays, the tax preparers will allow you to come in and borrow that money, essentially take a loan out to get that money sooner. What is a tax refund? What is it? Where'd that money come from? It's an overpayment of your taxes. To put it another way, to be honest, you did a poor job of anticipating how much tax you needed to pay. So you paid more. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. Why do I say that? Because think about what your tax refund is, whatever it is. Let's say it's $3,000. Okay. If somebody wanted to come borrow $3,000 from you, would you make them pay you some kind of interest or something? Or would you just give them the $3,000 and say, hey, you can pay me back whenever? Curious. What if you were in the business of loaning money? If you were in the business of loaning money, how much would you charge people to borrow that money from you? If that was your business, the business of loaning money, what would you charge them for that money? Well, what you've essentially done is if you get a tax refund, you've allowed the U.S. government to borrow money from you and pay you 0 interest. And if you add that up over the years, that's a 6-figure proposition for you. Okay? If you're not clear on that, get a hold of me. I'll show you how to work that out. But there's some programs out there, or talk to your tax professional to figure out and project what your taxes ought to be so that you pay the right amount of taxes in every month. Okay? Because that money could be in your pocket every month. You could be investing that, making money, versus getting no return on it. Okay? Next slide, please. Next week, I'm being asked a question. Oh, to show you how to do that next week? Well, if you're nice to me, we might do that. If a lot of people say they really want to see that, we can do that next week. Now, what's your new assignment? We're going to get that Get Out of Debt program going, and we're going to increase. We need to have a strategy for increasing your cash flow. What is your strategy? And you're right. There's no reason to get excited about a tax refund. It's your money. What's your strategy for getting out of debt? And what's your strategy for increasing your cash flow? I posted something today on Instagram and Facebook that said, your decisions determine your future. Choose wisely. All of our futures are created out of our imagination. They're created out of how we think. Okay, so how we think about money creates our money future. So take the Financial Literacy Challenge and look and see how you think about money. Send me your score and get a free ebook. You need to know the information that's in that Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance book. You need to know what's in there. Okay? And get a free financial needs roadmap and a checklist. Okay? So with that, we're going to be done for today. We're going to see you next week, and we're going to cover step 6, which is wealth accumulation. We're going to do step 6 with this wealth accumulation. So we'll talk to you next week, and we'll be getting started there at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern sharp. Okay? Lord willing, the computer won't crash next week. You guys take care. Bye-bye.